No, nigga. Different. I got 30 minutes to chill. So I have to re-record. You missed your bus. That means you're half an hour late for your big meeting at the ministry. I did a video on what is a man, and I put a source. Ama is een kind van een Ghanese moeder. A source that I was using, which is called Vpro documentary on YouTube, and I told you guys to check it out. And it wasn't really a source; it was a video reference. I was watching the video, and the name of the video was Alpha Man. And I used that to elaborate on what a man is. I'm like, okay, so I basically use the content. And I told you guys check out Vpro documentary. They have a lot of good content. They go all over the world, and ironically, they drop a video every week. Every other week, there's bound to be a documentary. So this week, the last video was Alpha Male. And this video, which just dropped yesterday, is how to deal with depression in Ghana. I don't know why they picked that topic, but I know why they went to that country, Ghana, because that's where I'm from. So I'm not saying it's because of me, that's why they went there, but it's because of me, that's why they went there. Not trying to be cocky, but it's just true. Now, nah, I just don't like the topic. People always assume just because you alone, you have to be depressed. First thing is first, you can have a wife, kids, you can have a lot of people around you and you still feel lonely and depressed. You feel me? So it doesn't necessarily mean just because somebody's alone they're depressed. Me being alone, I can be more happy than somebody who has a bunch of friends around them. You feel me? So it has nothing to do with being alone. Being alone is good. You feel me? If you can find that goodness in it, then being alone is good. But if you're a person that needs a lot of people around you, then you feel me? Then that's on you. You can be a fat nigga and still be hungry. You feel me? That means that if you that big and you eating, right? And you keep eating, that means that you really starving. You feel me? Because at that weight, your body's supposed to be like, that's enough. But the fact that you keep eating, I'm going somewhere with that. But the fact that you keep eating, that tells you that you're starving, which means the things that you're taking in do not have the ingredients to tell you that, hey, I'm full. That's the same thing with people who have a lot of friends around them sometimes. How many people do you need around you for you not to be lonely? So just because you have a lot of people around you and you saying, well, I got this person with me, I got this person, how many people do you need to be around you to make you feel not lonely? You feel me? So a person who's content with himself does not need that many people around him, or does not need nobody else around him at all. So the whole idea is debunked just through that explanation alone. But she's in Ghana. There's a lady, and she works with remember the name of the YouTube page that I follow them on is Vpro documentary. I'm pretty sure they didn't know I was fucking with them until I mentioned them on my YouTube page and everything else like that. I don't know how they know because there's no viewing on my shit, so you know how that go. Controversy, the CIA, the FBI, the alphabet boys. I know it's the alphabet boys. But anyway, check it. So she's in my country. She's asking people, how do people in Ghana deal with depression? They don't really have a word for depression there. You see, the things that most of us people in the Western world focus on are privilege. You feel me? We can focus on these things because it's privilege. You focus on your feelings and your emotions and everything else. In other places, some people don't have the privilege to focus on these things. It's either you get over it, because eventually you have to get over it. That's the whole key of even having a word for it. You feel me? If you stress or you depressed, the final end result of it all is to get over it, overcome it, or conquer it. So when it do happen again, you know how to deal with it. You feel me? So when she's speaking to these people, they telling her that we don't really have a word in our language for that kind of word. And the guy was laughing at her like, I don't think she was like, he said, that's, I'll let you tell, I'll let him tell, hopefully it's in that spot.
De Nederlandse vader. Ze
And one thing,
reist voor haar.
one more thing, I had a problem with the person that was introducing her when she was in my country, and that's my country, by the way. She is of a mixed race. Her father is white, her mother is Ghanaian, and she's taking her through the village side of my country, and she's basically introducing her to people that she can speak to, ordinary people. That's like coming here to my country. I mean, to the United States, which is also my country, by the way, and you asking the average person, how do people deal with depression? You might want to go to some professors who have done the research, who are in that field of work, to speak to them about this. But she didn't do that. She just went to regular people who don't give a fuck about none of that shit. They have their own problem, and you asking them about this. So that's a red flag. That's one. So, you know, fucked up.
Duurzaamheidsbedrijf Dr. Monk, veel heen en weer tussen Accra en Amsterdam. In Ghana woont ze samen met haar dochter, haar tante, verschillende nichten en neven. Dankjewel. En
Basically,
haar moeder in één huis.
what she doing right now is introducing the girl that she said she's speaking her language. Sounds like Dutch. And she's saying that the girl's name is Anna, and the girl lived with her daughter. The girl that she's introducing is Anna. She's saying that girl lives with her daughter, sisters, mother, and everything. So she's introducing it because the subtitle when she's speaking it pops up a little bit. It's saying Aries.
Okay.
Oh, mommy. Everybody calls her mommy.
I can call her mommy too.
Yes.
Mommy Afi.
Yes.
So how would you say I'm depressed in Ewe?
Depressing in the airway, we don't have it.
So would you say you don't have that feeling?
Well, maybe people will have that feeling, but because we don't have a name for it, it will be difficult to notice it.
And this is one thing too. It's like it's a lot that goes into things, man. You cannot compare. I cannot compare the cost of living in America to the cost of living in Africa. Totally different. They rely on different sources to survive. So asking them their state of emotion of what they think depression is, it's not fair because they have lived through certain things differently than we have lived through certain things differently over here. So trying to compare and contrast both of them is it's like try to I know my phone even agree with me. It's trying to mix like water and oil. It just don't mix. It's like I said, the cost of living. If you go to some parts of Africa, they rely on they caught cattle's and whatever, milk them and they use that for farming and everything else. And in America, your cost of living can be based on your salary and everything else. So it's like you can't compare them. And it's like these people know these things. They're very smart, but they go into these places and asking these people about depression. These people don't care about depression. They don't even have a word for it in their language because the people that live in these places have already dealt with their issues already. It's just like this. If I was a man that was rich, right? You have to read the book called Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And they describe it perfectly in there that um, although he was on the broadcast of London Rail, he described it, he was using Donald Trump, still Donald Trump. He said that Donald Trump's father was a businessman who built buildings. And it was part of his makeup to build buildings. So he knew everything about the business of building buildings. So he passed that knowledge on to his son. He said, although Donald Trump is not that smart, when you talk to him, he knows everything about the business of building buildings. And that's the same thing with certain people, if you can just think of it, what I'm saying. So if you go into a place like the place that she's at right now, these people have already dealt with depression in their past lineage. So it's something that is passed on already without them even having knowledge of it. They already gaining. They already know they're doing it without even knowing. You can be blessed and you wouldn't even know. because somebody has put in the work already for you to be that person already, and you don't even know. So just like Donald Trump is a millionaire, and people just can't understand why this man got so much money. He's not that smart, and people be saying that the work has already been put in by his father. That even if you consider him to be stupid, right? It doesn't matter. It's part of his genetic makeup. This is something that he does naturally without even knowing. You feel me? Because somebody has already put in the work. So the fact that they don't have a definition of that word in their language tells you that they came from a long lineage, whatever, a long line of people who have already dealt with those kind of things, went through civil wars already, went through the differences between people already, went through self-evaluation already to the point where they can be happy with little. So they don't have to be. If the only way you can be depressed if like you disappointed, it's like I don't. The description of this is like being sad for a very long time. They have to overcome that already because they're moving on to other things in their life. So which meaning people they line of people have already put in that kind of work already for them to even be there. Unfortunately, that's not the case with some of us in the United States. You feel me? So asking those kind of questions was rhetorical. They don't have a word for it. Feel me? In certain African countries back in the days, I'm talking about ancient Egypt, they didn't have a word for pedophilia or rapists. Because these things did not exist in a community. You feel me? Even in certain languages, people don't have the word for homosexual. Because it's like it doesn't even exist in the society. So it's like me taking these words, knowing that it doesn't exist in the society, because they don't deal with these things, and going there and asking them about it. How do you feel about it? Be like, huh? Like I never even thought of it. Where the fuck you came from? You understand? Like that kind of stuff. But let's hear the video. You know, I always gotta break it down. Unfortunately, I'm using them twice in a row. I didn't want to use them, but they was in my country, so I have to break it down a little bit. And I'm not gonna go for too long.
We don't have depression here, so I don't actually know the name.
So you heard her,
In
right?
our language.
But can you not say like I'm feeling down
Yes.
in Ewe?
In Ewe, you can say Bokbonyele Didi.
Have you ever felt Didi?
Ogbonyele Didi.
Yes.
See, she's speaking. That's Ewe is just the language of the Togolese people, and Gan is the language. It's one of the language of the Togolese people. It is the main language of the Togolese people. They call it Ewe. They also speak French, but their national language will be Ewe. In Ghana, you have several languages like Gan, you have Twi, you have Afanti, and all that stuff like that. So they speak different form of language, but they're in Ghana, and she's speaking Ewe, so which means that tells you that she's a person who family come from that country. So if you're gonna come to, like, you feel me? Understand? I'm just saying. They
For
only
long
show
periods
it show
of
the
time?
diversity
No,
there.
it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes. Marriage.
You are divorced.
Yes.
She said she was divorced and she
So
was
that took
depressed for
2
2
weeks.
weeks.
Yes.
And then it was
Some niggas
better?
take a lifetime.
Yes. I was better.
Really?
She got over it.
But that's quick, no?
For you.
For me, yes.
For you, yeah, for you. It's good for you because I had to get over it. It's where I live. My environment requires me to do.
What has happened? The fan is stopped.
Yeah, the electricity went off.
The ceiling is
Yeah,
beautiful.
everybody's very pissed off now actually, because it just came on this morning, and we hoped it would go until tonight at least, maybe even tomorrow morning, and it's gone now. And it's the hottest time of the day. Like they are fucking 24 hours, they off their lights, and they just brought it this
She
morning, and
nice
they took
though.
it again.
So the fridge is gone too.
Yeah. No, we can't keep any food. We cooked all this food and now we have to eat it. We have gizzard, all the gizzard have spoiled. Gizzard?
Ondanks dagelijkse moeilijkheden als uitvallende elektriciteit,
And I'm the
urenlange
reason why
files
she's
in de
over there
brandende
anyway.
hitte en de
So I know
alom
they
aanwezige
probably mad at
armoede,
me
lijken mensen hier over het algemeen
They
heel
mad at me
weerbaar.
back home and shit. I gotta talk about that too,
Do you feel
honestly.
like it
I don't
different
think I like
because
that about
when you are in Holland
my
and when you
people.
are here?
Now, if I could talk, one thing I don't like about it is that if they feel like you bringing some form of disgrace to them, they would disown you. Is equivalent to like in America how people disown their kids if their kid came out to them and told them that they're gay or something like that. Some of these kids get just thrown out the house, and I know this because of experience. When I was in a homeless shelter, it was filled with nothing but gay people. And when you hear the story, it's the parents just throwing them out because they came out as that. I think that is wrong, and I think that's wrong on my side too, because of oh, you brought a disgrace to the family, and they just like distance themselves from you and everything else like that. And I just feel like that's uncalled for. That's one thing I don't like about my people. Honestly, I know that for that feeling for a long time, and I can honestly say that it is wrong to disown your kids because you deem it as they being disgraceful. You gotta love them regardless. Like you feel me? And this is something that some of us gotta learn. It's obvious it's not all of us, but I see it as a flaw in most of us.
At the risk of sounding schizophrenic, yes,
I just don't like the reference, the girl that she's using to navigate in the country too. Because she's like, I'm not saying she's not qualified, but I don't think she should have used her as a navigator to let her take her around
The
and
way he
everything else.
picked her up from the hospital and brought the child's dead body to the house.
We're not even going. I'm gonna skip a few parts because it went from depression to people dying and everything else like that. Then they're having funeral and everything.
Every day, thousands of clinical trials are
Which had
conducted
nothing to
around
do
the
with
world
depression,
in search of better
honestly.
cures for diseases that.
Het is een van de meest christelijke landen ter wereld.
Because even if that has something to do with depression in our country, right? When somebody dies, it's more like when you go to a funeral, you couldn't even tell it was a funeral because they're playing loud music. Although people wear black and red and everything else like that, it's more like a celebration, like it's more like a transition. We know that person's gonna be in a better place and everything else like that. So they have the funeral, then after the funeral, they have a party for the person to pass away. In America, it's quite different. Feel me? They go to the funeral, and after that, everybody go home, or y'all go sit at a quiet place and drink wine. Da da da. So it's different. So it's like you can't ask certain questions. If you're gonna ask that question, you gotta stay in the Western world. You can't go to a third world country and be like, what is the cost of living? And they base this cost of living thing that they do the currency, and they be like the cost of living in Africa. Then they compare the cost of living in Africa to the cost of living in the Middle East. Then they compare. No, you can't do that because these people have different ways of surviving. So it's the same thing with depression itself. So let's just go.
God is letterlijk overal.
So during this section, she's showing how they took her to church. That's how other people deal with depression through the church system and everything else like that. I want to play it. Yeah, how people deal with depression through the church system, and the person was telling him.
Als ik hier in Ama's buurt naar vraag,
I'm going
roept
through
alleen
it
al het
fast
woord
because I'm not even
depressie
going to do it
veel
too much.
verwarring op. How would you translate I'm depressed?
I'm depressed. It told me. It told me. It told me.
It told me basically that's gone. It told me means I'm tired, but that's not depression. Tiredness basically. So at least you see how it goes, right? Because they don't really think about depression. Like to be depressed to them is like I'm tired. That's privilege. That is privilege. People get tired here all the time, so that means they're depressed. So you have to understand what's a blessing to you can be a detrimental to somebody else. So if I was to take a look at the word depression and I compare it to my place, which is Ghana, compare it to this place, which is my place too, which is America, you get to understand that the Africans are privileged when it comes to emotional interaction with themselves compared to the American people. Although we are rich when it comes to um, technology and everything else like that, their emotional state is much better because they're happy with less. So they don't even have saying words for the things that we have a word for everything, all the way down to the bottom of your shoes. So they rich when it comes to emotional expression, but and I have to tell you this too. Certain things that people do does not have to be described. That's what one thing I was trying to say to her. You feel me? Because some even some Africans, especially where I was from in this video, it was basic. The people was expressing themselves, but it was expressing themselves through energy. You feel me? Through uh, some form of spiritual. Let me see my like. Come on. You know what I mean? So people are expressing themselves. Everything that we do as African or African Americans does not have to be explained in words. It is just is. It's like you feel me. So when she's asking a question and it's like this is part of who we are. We just do it because it is. You feel me? Just like I was saying, if you was to ask Donald Trump specific questions about saying things that he already know is part of his being. And I'm only using Donald Trump because the rich dad, poor dad, the author use him as an example. But if you ask a rich kid, well, how do you get rich? He might give you a bunch of answers and everything else like that, but it might not work the same for you because it's something that's part of him already. It's something that is part of his genetic makeup that keeps him going. You feel me? It is who he is. It's like it's it is like you feel me. So the fact that she's asking dumb questions about depression and everything else like that, she's asking them, how do you deal with certain things? They're like, and they just giving her answers just to give her answers, and it's like, look, certain things are energy. It's energy based. We don't have to explain. I don't know how to explain it, but it just is what it is. But let's hear her speak.
So there is not really a word for
At
it.
8 more minutes.
There's a word. There's a word for it. Let me call somebody.
She let me call somebody. Let's see whether she could get the answer.
City bike.
I'm gonna wrap it up real
Okay, the
fast.
difference, tiredness. What is the difference? And I'm tired.
So
You are exhausted.
shout out to Jules
And what am
Olsen.
I really depressed? Am I really when you are disappointed, it means you are depressed.
That's not really true. But you see, they found it difficult.
Is when
When you don't have someone.
when you don't find solutions to your problems. Oh no.
No, that's not depression.
No.
Or when you need something and you don't get it.
He
No,
explained it the
that's also not
best to
depression.
me. What he said was
Or
best.
depression.
Stress and depression are the same.
Are they the same thing?
No.
Or two different things?
Different. So I think the definition of depression in the West, at least, is a prolonged period of feeling very down.
So according to her, she said in the West, it's a prolonged period of feeling very down. So that's a state of depression. So you feel down, then a prolonged period of that, you go into another stage called depression. Okay, good. Now here his answer to that of being an African in Ghana with his life, his experience of life at that place in that environment. See, as to the way I broke it down with the cost of living. Here is explanation.
And it's interfering with your ability to work and it's affecting people around you.
He laughed.
It's too much. I've not felt it, and I don't know how to describe it, and I don't know how to talk about it. Because to that level, then you are in hell.
Through that level, then you in hell. So it's like,
Oh, I don't want to die.
I'm gonna cut this shit, man. You don't know the shut up, man. No,
Yeah.
these people they get paid to cry.
Would you say like you're an actress?
They get paid to cry at funerals, which is ridiculous. I don't agree with that.
has to contribute. You have to contribute because otherwise people are not contributing towards your funeral.
Yeah.
That's also the idea.
That's also the idea, indeed. So someone like my mom, I can talk to her about it. We always argue about this funeral thing because she goes to so many funerals and she's called.
So she asked a question about how do people do.
Gedurende de nacht
She
blijven
went
alle
through
gasten
different
slapen,
places.
zodat de nabestaanden niet alleen achterblijven met het lijk.
And they cannot leave me, the chief mourner, alone here. So they have to stay with me till the next morning.
Nigga knocked out. Oh, that is that, bro. That's crazy. I didn't even know. Look, just alive. I don't know what the funeral had to do with depression and everything else like that, because people are depressed even without death itself.
De volgende dag is het feest op de begrafenis. Neem het leven zoals het komt. Of, zoals ze hier zeggen, take it like that. De dood als ultieme voorbeeld van de oncontroleerbaarheid der dingen.
So, it was a horrible documentary, I have to say, when it comes to...
Vanaf je geboorte tot ver na je dood vanzelfsprekend een onderdeel van de hechte gemeenschap om je heen.
It really didn't explain the reason why she went there. You understand? So, I'm only gonna post this because I spent the time thinking about it, but it's not even worth the posting. But, yeah, it didn't answer the question was how do people deal with depression in Ghana? And she went from church, which is understandable. Then she went to the funeral. Then basically that was about it. She didn't really go to that. Is equivalent to what the politicians do when they want to get elected. They start interviewing strippers and rappers and comedians, and not interviewing the people that's in the field of things and act so they can give them a real challenge. You feel me on these things? You asking ordinary people that's just living life in their house, and you like go to the professional people that have actually put in the work to do so. But anyway, man, that was just a video I had to put out there when it comes to Vpro. I'm not gonna do no more Vpro until it strikes a conversation like it did with, because it was my country. I had to do it. You feel me? It was just something I had to do. You feel me? I had to just post it up. But as you can see, there's a difference when it comes to certain things that we take as privilege in this country and certain things that other people take privilege when it comes to their country. You cannot take your foolery to other countries and expect them to understand your way of life. Your way of life in America is different from the way of life in Africa. Like I said, the cost of living and everything else like that is way, way different. They don't even have word for some of the things that we stress about. They don't. Some of the things that they do is expressed through energy and spirit. Totally different. Totally different. Feel me? So I don't know why she did what she did, man. Don't ever go back to Ghana again. And the Ghanaians, y'all need to understand, man. The people over there, I hear your message and everything else. I can tell they told you about me. You have to understand, I'm fighting a different battle over here. You feel me? My shit is different, way, way different. Don't think of it as an embarrassment to you or anything else. It has nothing to do with you. It's just different. I'm being called on a different purpose. You feel me? My shit is just different. It's not an embarrassment to you or anybody else like that. This has nothing to do with you. Still nothing to do with you. Feel me? I just happened to be born to. I had to come through this kind of people. Feel me? I had to come through. Just like Christ had to come through the Jews, I had to come through the Ghanaians. So yeah, the name is gonna live for a long time. It's just a continuation of a story. So don't take it any personal. It's a long journey. Feel me? Even if it ends today, guess what? It was still something I had to do. Feel me? Yeah, nothing to do with anything. You should be proud that it took that many of them to fight one of me. You dig? But still a lot of love out here. She just the pressure sometimes will make people go against you, and that's what it is. Especially if I show you love. If I show you love, it's over. it's always an ugly nigga that's trying to fight a pretty nigga. You feel